Avicii was a huge, wildly popular DJ and producer, electronic musician.
Avicii was thrown into the lion's den of the exploding EDM scene, but he was also a lion himself.
That lifestyle is fast and furious.
He had a real kind of orchestral symphonic mind. Electronic music allowed him to create the sounds he was hearing in his head without assembling a 100-person orchestra.
Behind the EDM heavyweight known as Avicii is Tim Bergling. He's just a kid from Stockholm, born with a talent for making music.
He was able to get his hands on some software that allowed him to make computerized music in his bedroom as a teenager, and he started posting tracks on message boards.
With just a laptop and his musical instincts, he captures the attention of a growing electronic dance music industry.
This was at a time when a huge influx of people were coming into the dance music scene, and they wanted to go to these massive festivals and see this kind of orgy of pyrotechnics and LED screens and sound.
He swims in a sea of aspiring DJs. But his tracks stand out, and his reputation grows.
There was a real fascination with who this young Swedish dude was, and a real mystique started building.
When Tim Bergling makes his first appearances at music festivals around the world, he stands behind the boards with a stage name. Tim Bergling becomes Avicii.
Avicii came to the party as a newcomer, and that's actually what people wanted. The new generation of fans wanted someone they felt like was their own.
With the 2011 release of a track called Levels, Avicii rockets to the pinnacle of the EDM world.
It was a huge hit in the clubs, and then it became a huge hit on the charts. But that was really only the beginning.
Avicii takes Levels to Ultra and Ibiza. He headlines the biggest electronic music festivals in the world. But his biggest hit is still to come.
The next big release from Avicii was called Wake Me Up, and that transcended genre. It became a certifiable pop hit, and it solidified Avicii's status as a pop megastar. There were no other DJs or electronic music producers who had become global pop icons before then.
But behind the tables of the most electrifying DJ in the world is just a kid that made it big. A career that Avicii couldn't possibly fathom took flight from the musical ideas he composed in his bedroom. Insiders worry that it took him into a world with demands he couldn't handle.
When you are in your bedroom producing records, it's impossible to imagine what the effect of those records can be. Yeah, you can think of yourself standing on the stage in front of thousands and thousands of people and how that might feel, but you really don't know what it's like until you've been on that stage.
Before Avicii steps foot in a club, he's composing tracks that plug into the exploding EDM scene.
They wanted to have someone at the center of it that they could be in awe of.
The world of electronic music production has grown massive. That, definitely blew up with the explosion of EDM and big artists like Avicii, who toured all over the world playing big giant parties, basically.
Avicii rises with the popularity of a new kind of dance music, but it's a performance that puts mounting demands on a one-person show.
It's a different setup than when you have groups and bands. You can hit a different city every night, so the touring and the travel is really rigorous.
Avicii's career starts small. He begs to get in the door.
One year, 2010, Avicii was trying to get booked in Miami during Ultra Music Festival Week for $400 for a gig. Could not get that. The next year, he's making $250,000. He's headlining at Ultra. He's playing on the main stage.
With explosive success comes more shows and more travel. Dates in Avicii's touring schedule multiply. After the release of Wake Me Up, Avicii rockets into the stratosphere. It's the most streamed track on Spotify. But fans don't just want to listen. They want to see him live.
This lifestyle can sound really glamorous. You get on a private jet, you fly to a new city, you play a show, you do the after party, you get on a plane, you go to another show, you play that, do the after party. That can be incredibly hard to keep up.
It's a pounding schedule. The pressure mounts as Avicii's growing success demands more and more work.
It's estimated he played 800 shows in just a span of a few years, sometimes more than 200 shows in a single year. That sort of thing can have a really damaging effect.
But the problem is that when you go from nothing to the peak of the industry, you have missed the opportunities to gain all the experience that other artists have had on their way to that same peak.
Avicii is new to the never-ending cycle of tours. His health suffers, and with little experience to fall back on, every day it brings a growing toll.
It's really easy to get lost in the fantasy of that. And when that fantasy starts becoming a reality, it's really hard to think of reasons why you should stop.
I mean, here's somebody who was doing something that they deeply loved, but was causing them an immense amount of pain.